Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you love Naruto fanfics, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. Let's begin with part 2. Tsunade's bedroom. Big Sis Shizune, I want to play with you, Naruto says with a grin. Shizune was frozen in silence at what she was seeing. She was unable to take her eyes off of Naruto's huge member, her face cherry red. It's so huge. Shizune finally spoke, finding this hard to believe that Naruto was practically walking around with a huge third leg. I know, right? It's the best, Tsunade says, smiling from her position. Stuffed and full of Naruto's cum. How? Wait a minute. Since when did the two of you did? Shizune says, but stopped when Naruto walked to her with his throbbing length poking her stomach. I want to play, Naruto says. Naruto, we can't do this. You're too young for this kind of thing. Shizune says, looking at him. Not anymore, he's not. It seems you've forgotten, Shizune. The moment you become a genin and earn a shinobi license, by Konoha laws, that makes him an adult. Tsunade reminded her. Shizune suddenly realized Tsunade was right, but still this is wrong. But Naruto's member is so huge. And she can't stop staring at it. Come on now, Shizune. Play with your brother, he wants to play with his big sister, Tsunade cuts in. We already a family now, I'm his mama now. You're his big sister. And you're going to have more siblings too, Tsunade says huskily with her hand on her bloated belly. Shizune gazed at Tsunade, looking at her bloated belly along with the overflowed cum leaking from Tsunade's stretched. How much sperm can Naruto produce? She likely knew Tsunade is definitely pregnant with the amount of sperm Naruto poured into her. Naruto was looking at Shizune's body with lustful hunger. He's also coating in the Kyuubi's chakra as he grinded his against Shizune's belly. Shizune herself blushed as she felt her own womb throb and began to ovulate. Her eyes widened, wondering, was Naruto doing this? Please, big sis Shizune, Naruto pleaded, still grinding his inhuman-sized against her belly. Which made her womb throb even more. Her nipples hardened as she felt her body getting hotter. She looked into Naruto's lustful red eyes. She needed to get out. She needs to avoid Naruto's huge. Shizune gulped. Seeing that she didn't have much of a choice and would take off her clothes, revealing her body to Naruto. The moment her clothes were off, Naruto immediately jumped at Shizune and pinned her on the ground, biting and sucking her nipples, making her moan. Having become addicted to Naruto, lowered himself to position his to Shizune's lips as Shizune looked in alarm that her virginity was gonna be taken by the boy she considered a little brother. She gazed at Naruto's lustful gaze with his piercing red eyes, flowing with the Kyuubi's chakra. No ounce of innocence, just raw lust. I will make you pregnant too, big sister, he says as he would insert his into Shizune's tight as she let out a loud scream, feeling Naruto shove his deeply into her, breaking her hymen, causing her to bleed. Her virginity had been claimed by Naruto. As he thrusts his hips forward into her, causing Shizune to moan loudly and look dazed. Tsunade, even though she's stuffed full of Naruto's cum, leaned up to watch as Naruto breeds her apprentice. Yes. Do it, son, breed your sister. Tsunade says. It hurts. It hurts. It's too big. It'll tear me apart. Shizune screamed out as Naruto plowed into her deeper. Yours getting tighter, big sis Shizune. It looks happy to have my. Naruto says with a big smile on his face. Shizune's eyes rolled to the back of her head, her mind was going blank. She's losing her mind from how Naruto's huge fat was breaching through her womb, and now in her stomach, rearranging her insides. As Shizune wore a semi-broken expression of pleasure. As Naruto pinned her down in full-on mating press. Tsunade watched, already aroused. Her impregnated cunt dripping and her nipples hardened. After he's done with Shizune. She wants round 2, she didn't care if she was already stuffed full. She wants more of her studs. She fondled one of her and then fingered her swollen impregnated cunt as she watched Naruto fuck Shizune. Tsunade wants to test Naruto's stamina. She intends to fuck him all night until the morning. Naruto thrust his hips forward into Shizune in mating press. As she was fucked into submission, her eyes became heart pupils with Naruto constantly slamming himself into her. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind to his. He's going to get me pregnant. Thought Shizune, unable to hold it. I'm see you coming, she yelled, gushing her love juices on his as Naruto felt his get covered by her love juices. He's a couple of minutes from coming into her cunt. Tsunade fingered herself harder as she watched with excitement. Yes, yes. Shizune moaned as she felt Naruto's throb and twitch inside her. His balls clenched and got tight as he grit his teeth that were fangs, causing Tsunade to immediately recognize that look. Do it, baby. Do it. Knock her up. Tsunade encouraged Naruto. I'm coming. Naruto growled as he spurted his thick hot cum in Shizune's now stretched, filling her whole insides in his seed. Shizune's stomach began to swell due to Naruto coming too much inside her. Shizune suddenly lost consciousness with a broken smile. Tsunade clapped her hands in excitement. Good. Now you'll be a mommy Shizune just like me. Now Naruto owns you now. Tsunade says, now standing up, walking over to the two with a smile on her face. As Naruto pulled out of Shizune's, causing a audible pop sound to happen as Naruto's cum would be seen leaking out of Shizune's cunt. Good work, baby. Oh, what's this? Tsunade says, looking at Naruto's throbbing still erect. It's still hard, mama. I want to fuck more. He growled as she grasped his hard hot bitch killer that wore Shizune out. Which shows that not even Shizune would be able to last against Naruto's insane stamina. No regular woman could possibly stand against a Uzumaki's stamina when it comes to. Unless you're a Jinchuriki or an Uzumaki yourself. And Tsunade is half Uzumaki and she could potentially go on for hours if she wanted to. And the only reason she hasn't gone to such lengths with Dan was because a part of her was scared she could break his pelvis due to her monster strength. Plus he didn't have the stamina to keep up with her. Although the with Dan was good. But nowhere as good with Naruto, who literally has the potential to be stud material. He's too fucking hung to pee up, which is why she felt it was right to be his first and take his virginity. She hopes she gives birth to daughters so that they too can be bred by their own father. To keep the Senju bloodline and Uzumaki bloodline flowing. A lustful smile spread across Tsunade's face as she stroked his affectionately. I'm glad you want more. Because I want to go on a couple rounds with you. Tsunade says with a big grin as she got back on her bed, getting on all fours, shaking her big fat to him. Now it was time for the test. Give mama that, she demanded, and without wasting any time Naruto plunged himself into her, thrusting into Tsunade's that's been reshaped to his size only. Tsunade let out a howl of pleasure, feeling Naruto's thick impale her. Bucking his hips forward, her fat cheeks clapped and wobbled from him, thrusting into her as she screamed in euphoria, pleasure of feeling his back inside her. He gripped her wide childbearing hips as he slammed himself into her. Yes. Yes. Su mamas. He said in lust, thrusting into her as he felt her muscles grip him like iron. Yes. 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 Just like that. Fuck mama. Don't stop fucking me. Don't stop, baby. Tsunade panted in pleasure, feeling happy. Naruto was pounding into Tsunade's plump, fertile body with such aggression, feeling the lust he has for Tsunade still cloud him. Thrusting his hips forward with vigor and force with his hands on Tsunade's soft cheeks, as Tsunade's moans filled the room along with the loud clapping and plapping. His throbbed violently and twitched inside her. Tsunade already knew what was going to happen. I'm coming. He growled with her, smiling. Cum, baby. Give me your cum. Tsunade moaned as she felt him pour his cum in her, yet again filling her. In the next position he pinned her down on the bed in mating press, thrusting violently into her as he began biting her. He was still flowing in the Kyuubi's chakra that he was getting a lot more feral in mating. Oh yes. Yes. Don't stop. Keep going, baby. Fuck mama good and hard. Tsunade moaned out with her arms and thick thighs around him, holding him in place as he pounded her. She looked at him with hard eyes. As the two would remain like this for hours. Morning. Shizune was still out. From the intense mating Naruto did with her last night. As for Naruto and Tsunade, Naruto had laid beside Tsunade with his flaccid, with hickey kiss marks all over it, his face covered in Tsunade's lustful kisses. And Tsunade. She laid there glowing, twitching, her belly swollen and full of cum. Bite marks on her tits and one on her neck, her was red with Naruto's handprints. Her pigtail hair was undone and loose. She was the only one wide awake. He definitely surpassed her test. They had all night all the way until morning. Imagine what he could do if they had for days. She didn't feel like getting out of bed, she wanted to be by her Uzumaki stud. You will be my husband. And nothing will keep us apart. She says, stroking his blonde hair. Now with Shizune in the picture, she wonders will her apprentice be addicted to Naruto's and help her little brother with his urges. Things are only getting started. Tsunade is no longer the last Senju. And Shizune is no longer the last Kato thanks to Naruto. Closing parenthesis. Tsunade being wide awake. Stuffed full of his cum. Laid there by the sleeping Naruto whose was still flaccid. She stared at it lustfully despite having all night with him. Why did she want more? Was she becoming a nympho? With the undesirable urge to have with her partner. Of course Tsunade was a woman with needs. And she needed. Having been so lonely without Dan, she pushed away her need for intimacy. There was no other man good enough for her, she's not counting Jiraiya. Because Jiraiya is a man-child. Orochimaru. He's secretly gay. And no one knows that but her and her sensei. Then there was Dan. Someone she did love in the past. Wanting to be his wife, have his children. So that the Senju clan can be revived since her brother is dead and she was the remaining one. She remembers their first night of, assuming she's pregnant. But that was until she discovered after Dan's death that Dan was infertile, which devastated her further. And to think she almost gave herself to Jiraiya but stopped herself the moment she saw his. That idiot had the nerve to brag about his size. Calling it an impressive shaft, when in reality it's small as a pencil with toad warts all over it. The itself was so ugly and small that she did not want it inside her. She immediately refused with him and threatened that if he ever told Shizune or anyone about this, she would kill him. After that Tsunade's desire to get pregnant faded. Because there was no one worthy in her eyes. But that all changed when she met this young stud that's in her bed. Having heard her grandma Mito who was drunk told her that Uzumaki men are way more developed, not that she was insulting her husband's size. Because Harashirama wasn't anything to laugh at according to Mito. But not even the first Hokage can handle a Uzumaki's stamina. What no one knew was that Uzumaki. Both male and female are hyper-stamina freaks. Hence why Harashirama's despite being the first Hokage and strongest. Not even he can handle Mito Uzumaki in bed. There were times she broke his pelvis and the bed they were on. Which could have potentially happened to Dan, had Tsunade had her way. The same thing probably happened with Minato with Kushina. 'Cause Uzumakis aren't just monsters for their sealing abilities and skills but monsters in bed. When it comes to. And here Tsunade is with the last known Uzumaki male who's hung as a horse and stud material. As if he was built to breed kunoichi bitches left and right. With Shizune still out, Tsunade still wants more even though she's stuffed up. It seems after being active in so long, Tsunade's libido has awoken. She theorized maybe it's because Naruto is her match and he can keep up with her. Am I really becoming a nymphomaniac? She thought, grasping Naruto's as he slept. She jerks him slowly as Naruto's immediately hardened to life in her hand. He's so hard for his mama, she thought with a lusty smile as she stroked him a little more. Naruto grunted in his sleep, feeling his being stroked by Tsunade. Shish. Rest baby, let mama have just a little more of your fat. She says huskily. She picks him up in her arms and put her in his mouth for him to suck on while she strokes his. Naruto bit on her nipples as the milk flowed freely into his mouth and she stroked him a little faster. She gazes at his fat veiny that's throbbing violently from her stroking him. Kushina outdid herself for giving birth to this potential stud from her womb. Naruto sucked her nipple hard as more milk flowed into his mouth. Tsunade felt him biting her harder, earning a moan from her. Ah, he's biting and sucking so hard, she moaned as she jerked his throbbing faster. She feels that familiar heat return in her body. That heat, of wanting. Wanting to ride this fat fucking of his and get pregnant over and over and over again. She's going to transform Naruto into her ideal of a husband. While her future daughters, on the other hand, she's going to have them interested in their father. As Senju clan heiress and clan leader, she decreed it. She don't want no daughter of hers to waste themselves with scrawny-looking boys or microscopic-sized boys like Jiraiya. Their daddy is a real man, and he's going to take care of all of them. Which reminds her she'll have to take a sample of Naruto's cum to take to study in the hospital lab. But the question is, how can she get a condom for his size? He's way too fucking hung. Unless she takes him to the hospital herself, and he can give her a sample there. Maybe have him pour it in a bucket. Since he produces a lot more cum than anyone. Still jerking him with her hand and as he suckled her nipples. Tsunade moaned as she bit her lip, feeling her throbbing, for his already. Oh Kami. My is throbbing for him. My body is hot for him. Tsunade thought. A sudden jolt of his twitched. As Naruto pulled away and shouted. I'm coming. He yelled as he blasted his thick load straight at Tsunade, painting her in his thick sperm. Oh, mama, you want more? I'm still hard. He says, panting, seeing his throbbing tense and swell with veins pulsing. Oh, you came so much. As expected from a stud. Please, fuck my Senju again. I want you back inside, mama. Tsunade says, laying back down on the bed. Naruto would oblige to her wishes. She already got him hard and bothered due to her stroking him in his sleep, so he needs to relieve himself by fucking her. Plunging his fat throbbing Uzumaki into her made Tsunade grunt and moan in pleasure as she grabbed her tits and fondled them as she watched him thrust himself inside her. Naruto's babies, moaned out Shizune in her sleep. Naruto gripped Tsunade's wide curvy hips as he bucked his hips, plowing his into Tsunade's impregnated womb. He lost count on how many times he came in her, having fucked her so relentlessly throughout the night until morning. Oh yes. Yes, right there. Don't stop, baby. Tsunade said with a lustful smile. Fuck mama. Mama can't get enough of you. Tsunade yelled. Shizune, woken up by Tsunade's lustful screams, looked on weakly, and widened her eyes in shock. How can these two still go at it? She thought with surprise. Shizune winced. Oh, Kami, I can't feel my legs. Naruto fucked me so hard. Last night, she thought. All she could do was just lay there since she's unable to move due to her body being sore from Naruto last night. She stared at her sensei's expression. Tsunade looked like a whole different woman. There were multiple expressions on her face. Happiness, lust and joy. All her life she's never seen this side of Tsunade before. You're squeezing me too tight. Naruto grunted as Tsunade stared at him. I want that Uzumaki sperm. I want you to make me bigger. Tsunade says with lustful intent on being bloated full of his cum. Shizune could only watch with her jaw dropped. Just how much sperm can Naruto produce? He's pouring so much in Tsunade that her belly looks like it could burst. Naruto thrusted as hard as he could, feeling his throbbing pulse. Twitching as it buried itself deep in Tsunade's cum-filled belly. Since she wants to be bloated like a balloon with so much cum. Oh fuck, it's coming. He grunted and shot another big load of cum inside her. As Tsunade let out a lustful howl of pleasure, feeling his warm cum fill her belly again. Oh, so much. He's pouring so much. Her eyes rolling to the back of her skull in pleasure. Naruto pulled out as Tsunade's entrance let out a large floodgate of his sperm out. Shizune knew now those sheets and the bed itself is completely drenched in Naruto's cum, and would have to be washed. It's a miracle the bed didn't break. Oh, mama is happy that you filled her so much, baby, Tsunade says, feeling Naruto climb on top of her. Oh, it feels good, he says, laying on her since he's also laying on her bloated belly. Our family will be big, she says, stroking his head. Just how long were the two of you like this? Shizune asked as the two looked over to her. Naruto looked sheepish while Tsunade blushed deeply. Shizune. You know how I've longed for a family and future with your Uncle Dan, she says calmly. I wanted a baby, from him, so that the Senju clan could grow. Especially with me being the last Senju, she told her apprentice. I've had with him, wanting the desire to be a mother of his child. But it all came crashing down that after he died that day, and when I wasn't showing any signs of pregnancy, I discovered that your uncle was infertile. He produced low sperm count to get me pregnant, Tsunade explained. I was distraught, I didn't know what else to do after that. Tsunade added. Shizune gasped as she listened. She knew her uncle and Tsunade were close. And had known the two were willing to get married and have a family, but it surprised her that her uncle was infertile. Why not give? She held her tongue, but Tsunade narrowed her eyes. Hell no. Not that fucking pervert. Tsunade snapped. She refuses to tell Shizune the time that she nearly had with Jiraiya. Okay. But did it have to be Naruto? Shizune says not that she was against it but was curious as to why him. You do not understand, Shizune. Naruto is well endowed and gifted, Tsunade says. My grandma Mito told me when she was drunk that Uzumaki men were more developed, in terms of, which implies they have bigger, with insane stamina. You know I'm half Uzumaki and I inherit the stamina, Tsunade explained. And with Naruto being the last Uzumaki, I had to know if he is what Grandma Mito says was true about Uzumaki men being more developed. And Naruto here is such a stud. Having you seen his so inhumanly big? That's enough to break a kunoichi. Tsunade says with lust. Shizune blushed since that image did burn into her memory. So I'm not a freak, for having a huge. Naruto asked Tsunade. Of course not, baby. You're very special and gifted. She corrected him. Women like me would kill to have a partner with a this big. She exclaimed. Well, this was good to know that Tsunade-chan doesn't think of him as a freak. Baby. You have to feel proud of yourself for having something no other man can't have. Tsunade told him. Think of all the women you can bed with. And get them pregnant, she says huskily, leaning to him. If you want your clan back, you have to get with some women, and have them carry your babies, she whispered into his ear. She wants to encourage him into reviving his clan. A lusty smile and an idea came to Tsunade's mind. Okay, I'm willing to bring my clan back. Ha, I'll beat Sasuke Tem since I got you and Shizune-chan pregnant. He exclaimed. Shizune blushed, having forgotten that Naruto did impregnate her, as her hands went to her womb, knowing she's pregnant with his child. Shizune, you should help out too, help encourage and inspire your brother more, Tsunade told her apprentice. Shizune could only nod at this, since she's in no position to say no, and that what she did feel last night was good. Looking at it this way, at least she's not the last of her clan. Let's all be a big happy family. Tsunade says with a big smile, holding Naruto. Hokage Tower. The shadow clone Tsunade left behind was still doing paperwork as usual. That was until the office doors barged open and coming in was the three old farts. She did not want to see. Tsunade, what is the meaning of this? Homura asked her. Whatever are you talking about? She asked with a deadpan expression. You know exactly what we are talking about. What's this I hear from Sasuke that you terminated Team 7 and made him a citizen? Kaharu snapped. And you've granted the Kyuubi Jinchuriki the rank of Chunin, says the emotionless voice of Danzo. Tsunade narrowed her eyes lightly at the three. She figured the Uchiha brat would snitch to these three. I did. So what? Was her answer. We demand that you reinstate Sasuke and Team 7 back into service immediately. Kaharu demanded. And grant Sasuke Uchiha the rank of Chunin as well. The Uzumaki boy's rank is voided. Homura says. Quote, comma, dot, quote. Tsunade stares at the three. No. She simply said. This made the three widen their eyes in surprise. What did you say? Homura asked. You three must be losing your hearing. Let me repeat myself, in a way that you can understand. Tsunade says calmly. I said. No. She repeated. What? You dare defy us? Kaharu snapped. Do you realize what this could do to Sasuke? He'll think he's not important as he should be. He's the last Uchiha, Homura says. You seem very attached to the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Do explain, why are you so suddenly attached to him? Danzo challenged with a narrowed eye. Tsunade looked at all three of them. With a glare. She's going to show these three withered old bags that she is not Hiruzen. You think I give a shit about him being the last Uchiha? Did you forget Naruto is the last Uzumaki too? Or you all just simply don't care about the Uzumaki clan? It's all about the Uchiha clan, huh? Tsunade shot back. Plus, he isn't the only Uchiha. She added. Itachi does not count. He is a traitor. Danzo countered. I think not, Tsunade says, making the three frown. As they exchanged looks at one another, then back at Tsunade. What are you talking about? Itachi killed all of the Uchihas. And only spared Sasuke. Sasuke is the true last Uchiha. Itachi is a traitor and a criminal. Homura said. That's not what Itachi told me, Tsunade revealed. This made the three freeze. You've been in contact with the traitor? When? Kaharu demanded. Yes, I have, and he told me an interesting story too, Tsunade says, glaring at the three. Flashback. A night later. Itachi would be at the rendezvous point waiting for Jiraiya. Expecting him to come and give the Toad Sannin more information about the Akatsuki, but the Uchiha was met by a hooded figure. Itachi looked at the hooded figure. Who spoke? Hello, Itachi. It's been a long time. Says the voice he did not expect to hear. It was Tsunade instead of Jiraiya. Tsunade-sama, he says. Slightly surprised. Expecting Jiraiya. Don't worry about him. He's unavailable, and won't be active for some time, she told him. From a faraway distance, Yugao and her squad were present. Tsunade called them just in case things went south between her and Itachi. What information can I grant you? He asked her. Everything that you can give me. I need to know every single Akatsuki member. And what are their goals, and more importantly, what do they want with Naruto? Since I hear they are after Jinchuriki. Tsunade answered. But before you can give me information, I want to know something, Itachi. Why did you do it? She asked him as Itachi stared at her blankly, already knowing what she meant at the last part. Why did you kill all of the Uchiha clan? She asked. My father, Fugaku, and the clan as a whole were getting frustrated with the village and the shinobi council for not trusting the Uchiha clan. They suspected we had something to do with the Kyuubi attack. Itachi revealed. My father and the Uchiha elders couldn't stand to be seen as traitors, so they thought of forming a coup against Konoha. And planned on overthrowing the third Hokage, Itachi said. Tsunade listened as a brow raised. Some of this could partially make sense, that the Uchiha clan could potentially be responsible for the Kyuubi attack. She remembers the stories of how her grandfather and Madara Uchiha once duked it out, and the Uchiha had the Kyuubi under his control with his Sharingan. But the question is, which Uchiha clan member did it that night, on the night of Naruto's birth? Makoto couldn't have been the culprit, since her and Kushina were friends. That could only leave to Fugaku. I had to report this issue to third Hokage and the elders, and they weren't too pleased with the thought of the Uchiha clan planning a coup, Itachi continued. How did my sensei respond to this? She asked. The third Hokage wanted to try talking to my father peacefully about this and talking him out of committing treason, but the elders, on the other hand, had other plans, Itachi revealed. And that would be? She asked, already knowing the answer. Exterminate all of the Uchiha clan, to prevent a civil war from happening within the village. Itachi answered. They tasked me to be the one to do it, he revealed. What about the elderly? The women and children? Did they have to die? They could have been spared. She questioned him. The elders feared if I kept them alive, some of them would vow vengeance and could potentially know that Konoha ordered their execution. I didn't want to do it, but I had no choice. Itachi told her grimly. But I wasn't the only one. Who killed them? He revealed as she stared at him with wide eyes. Who? She asked. The masked man. He offered to help me, Itachi revealed. He proclaimed himself as Madara Uchiha, Itachi says, surprising her. But that's impossible. Madara died years ago. My grandfather did it with his own hands. Tsunade says with disbelief. It makes no sense. He should be dead. Tsunade said thinking. He had the Sharingan, Itachi revealed. Tsunade frowned. Something didn't add up. This masked man proclaiming to be Madara Uchiha must be some kind of imposter. Madara was hardly a coward, why would he need a mask to hide himself? That didn't sound like the Madara her grandfather known. Wait a minute, the gears shifted in Tsunade's mind. Madara in the past once controlled the Kyuubi to fight her grandfather. Could this imposter be Madara's secret apprentice? And likely taught him such power. Some of it still didn't make any sense, because her grandfather killed the man, unless he didn't kill Madara enough, and he survived. She must assume Madara may have died of old age before training a secret apprentice. And that this secret apprentice may be a rogue Uchiha. To carry out his revenge. She thought back on the night of the Kyuubi attack. Her expression turned into shock. The imposter is behind it. He's the true mastermind of the Kyuubi attack. Itachi reading Tsunade's expressions as if she has figured it out. It was him, he's the one behind the Kyuubi attack, she whispered. Itachi didn't look surprised by this revelation, as he looked away. I have a confession to make, he revealed. She turned to him, looking at him. I may have did this on one condition to spare Sasuke, but I am not a monster. Tsunade. Itachi says. Tsunade just stares at Itachi waiting for him to finish. Not all of the Uchiha clan are dead. My mother, and some female cousins along with Izumi, escaped. He tells her making her widen her eyes at this secret. Escaped. Explain. The busty Senju asked. While I knew that the purge was coming, I had to warn my mother of what was coming and convinced her to take whoever is worth living and leave before it's too late, Itachi told her. Makoto is alive? Tsunade asked. She's living with sister her your forger Uchiha. Itachi answered. Tsunade remembers who your forger Uchiha was. She was known as the Thorn Princess of the Uchiha clan. And sister of Makoto Uchiha. Well, this is some good news, to hear not all the Uchihas are dead. Those who had nothing to do with the coup. Does Makoto know Sasuke is alive? She asked the Uchiha. Yes, and I had to convince her to leave him behind, because Sasuke will be the one to redeem the Uchiha clan, Itachi says. And where can I find them? In case your brother does redeem the clan, because after what you did the elders have been treating your brother like a spoiled brat. Tsunade said with a frown. They are poisoning his mind. Giving him stuff as if he's Kami's child on a silver platter. While Naruto had to work his off to get where he had to. Tsunade says as Itachi shook his head, in disappointment, knowing his brother will act like Fugaku. Choosing not to say anything on the subject for his brother's behavior. Itachi reached into his Akatsuki cloak and pulled out a map that leads to one of the Uchiha clan fortresses. This is where they are. Take it. He handed it to her as she took it softly and gazed back at the Uchiha male who turned to leave but stopped to look back at her. I'll keep in touch with you about the Akatsuki and find out whatever I can about our imposter, also. If Danzo tries usurping you, be warned that he has root active and will use them against you and anyone he deems as a threat. Itachi warned her. Flashback end. The three elders were shocked, nervous. That Tsunade knows. Danzo gripped his cane tightly. What you all did was treason in my eyes. You ordered Itachi to kill all the Uchihas. Some of them could have been innocent, and were not a part of Fugaku's coup. All the women, children and elderly, who may have had nothing to do with what Fugaku was planning. Tsunade snapped. It was for the good of Konoha. Hiruzen didn't have the heart to do what needed to be done. Homura replied. Besides, if any survived and learned the real truth on why Itachi killed them, they'd take revenge on Konoha and us as a whole. Kaharu also added. All I hear is excuses. Covering your own. Tsunade says with a tone laced with disgust. Here's what I will do. Telling the whole village the truth. Tsunade says as the three widened their eyes at this. Tsunade, don't do it. Do you realize the ramifications of what you will do if you tell the truth? Kaharu yelled. The village deserves to know the truth that they've been worshipping a clan of half-traitors. She snapped at the elders. Don't do this. This will ruin Sasuke's reputation. Homura pleaded. Look at my face and tell me if I give a shit. Tsunade said, narrowing her eyes. You are certainly unfit to be Hokage, Tsunade. It seems you are harboring a grudge just as Sasuke said you are. Because the Senju clan aren't as respected as the Uchiha clan, and that you seem to have formed favoritism towards the Kyuubi Jinchuriki out of spite towards the Uchiha boy. Danzo spoke with a narrowed eye. I'd watch what you say right now, Danzo. Tsunade glared at him. I'll be keeping a close eye on all three of you. Especially you. She says, pointing at Danzo. Try anything and I'll have you all arrested for treason. Tsunade spat. This isn't over. Danzo scowled. It is over. Now get the fuck out of my office before I change my mind on arresting you all here and now. She threatened. The three elders glared and would leave, not wanting to get early arrest. She'll deal with those three later. She'll need to have extra security here, since it's no secret that Danzo has root agents. She'll need to make an announcement to the whole village. As Hokage, it's time to give this village a sharp kick in the for change. Starting off with dissolving the civilian council and punish those who had a hand in hurting her stud. And we'll have them publicly executed. And when the announcement is known, she's having those elders arrested. Before she could continue, the doors knocked. Sighing, she told them to enter. The door opened, revealing a pair. It was the Harunos. Frowning at the pair. And how can I help the two of you? She had a feeling she knew what it was but want to hear it from their mouths. Tsunade-sama, please, we beg of you to give our daughter Sakura Haruno a chance. Mebuki spoke first. Yes, we heard that you terminated her kunoichi license and disbanded Team 7 as a whole. While you didn't punish that boy, Kazashi says carefully. Tsunade glared at them. She had expected for the little bitch to run to her parents for help. And just why should I give Sakura a chance, Mr. and Mrs. Haruno? Tsunade asked them, staring at them intently. Both parents exchanged looks at each other and faced Tsunade. They had to say their words carefully without pissing her off. Because Sakura is an excellent girl. Surely you've heard how good she was in the Shinobi Academy. Being the smartest of her and was Kunoichi of the year. Top of her class. Mebuki started. Tsunade held a skeptical expression as she faced Kazashi. Yes. It pains her to see that you terminated her kunoichi license. She would have been a promising kunoichi to you to serve in your ranks. Maybe even learn from you and be your apprentice. Since we hear that boy is with Jiraiya-sama. Kazashi says. Tsunade's eyes narrowed lightly. Please, just please give our daughter and Team 7 another chance. Mebuki begged. Your daughter ruined her chance as kunoichi the moment she started abusing her teammate verbally and physically, and I will not tolerate that. Tsunade spoke with venom. Come on, Hokage-sama. You're being unfair. Our dear Sakura would tell us how the Uzumaki boy would constantly harass her and get on her nerves. Kazashi replied. Yes. He wouldn't leave her alone and always wants to go on dates with her, when she's clearly not interested in him. She's interested in Uchiha-sama. Mebuki added. It's not right for you to do what you did to our daughter. That boy deserves much as a punishment than she did. Kazashi says. Tsunade's eyes narrowed. Not right. Do you realize who you are talking to? Tsunade spoke in a low, dangerous tone. This made the parents sweat, seeing the angry glare appear on Tsunade's face. Let me explain something to the two of you. Coming in my office begging and pleading for me to give your weak little bitch of a daughter another chance. Here's my response. Fuck no. Tsunade snapped. What? How could you say that about our daughter? What did she do to deserve this? You're abusing your power as Hokage. Kazashi yelled. Yes. And you are parading yourself around. That boy. Mebuki spat as Tsunade glared at her. What's that? Tsunade snarled. You heard me. I heard a saucy rumor that you went on a little date with that Uzumaki boy. Mebuki spat. Either you let our daughter and Team 7 back in service or we will expose this to the council. Along with you abusing your power as Hokage and having favoritism for the Uzumaki boy. Kazashi threatened, hoping this would get Tsunade to see things their way. Tsunade's glare increased, and you could have sworn you saw fire ignite in her eyes at the threat. As there was silence between the three, Tsunade lowered her gaze. Ah, we see you understand, now, will you? Kazashi spoke. Anbu. Tsunade called out as the Anbu appeared. Yes, Tsunade-sama, asked Yugao as her squad faced Tsunade, making the parents look worried. Hey, what's going on? Mebuki asked. Arrest these two, Tsunade commanded, shocking the pair. What? You can't do this to us. Kazashi yelled in horror. I can and will. Want to know why? Because I'm the Hokage. And you two pieces of shit dare making a bribe or threat. Tsunade yelled. Get them out of my sight. Tsunade barked. Wait, what about our daughter? Tsunade. Mebuki screamed as both her and her husband were escorted out the office, arrested and on their way to jail. Senju home. I'll be back, guys. Going to get us a bite to eat, Naruto says with clean clothes on, and was on his way out the door. Obviously Tsunade and Shizune didn't feel like cooking due to them out of commission. Tsunade would have the energy to cook, but she can't move since she's stuffed full of his cum. Closing parenthesis. Naruto was just casually walking the streets going to get him and his ladies some food. Getting all of their favorites. He loves ramen, Tsunade loves chicken tenders or chicken, then Shizune loves brown rice. He would go to one restaurant that sells both Tsunade's and Shizune's favorites. When he walked in, everyone saw him but looked away. When Naruto approached, the counter receptionist gave him a glare. And how may I help you? He says, glaring at Naruto. Ah yes, can I have an order of brown rice and chicken tenders? Naruto told him. I would like to ask you to leave. The host says, trying to get Naruto to leave the restaurant. Frowning, Naruto decided to try something. But I have to pick up this order from my mama Tsunade. Naruto says, shocking everyone in the restaurant including the host and chefs. What? You can't be related to Tsunade-sama. He says. She recently adopted me, Naruto countered while the host didn't know what to say on this matter. So if you won't give me my mother's food, she'll get angry, Naruto says as the look of fear appeared on host's face, having heard of Tsunade's legendary temper, and he did not want to be on the receiving end of it. We'll get your order ready, the host says immediately while Naruto smiled. 10 minutes later. Here you go, the host says, giving the 2 boxes of brown rice and chicken tenders to Naruto. As the boy reached for his toad wallet, but the host stopped him. It's on the house, he says, making Naruto smile more as he walked off with the food. Now back on the streets, Naruto would bump into a pair of women, who looked very much like Kiba, and who are they exactly? The woman on the left with a ponytail and flanked with 3 dogs is Hana Inuzuka, clan heiress and big sister of Kiba Inuzuka and Tsume's firstborn. The one on the right, with spiky wild brown hair, is Tsume, the leader and clan head of the Inuzuka clan, mother of both Hana and Kiba. Hello Naruto, Hana says, smiling, giving the boy a wave. Naruto. Oh, so you're the runt that beat my son Kiba? Tsume says, eyeing the boy up and down, taking in his features. Hello Hana. And Mrs. Inuzuka, Naruto greeted, still holding the box of food. What are you doing? Me and mother are shopping, Hana asked him while Tsume stared at Naruto, looking at the boy who beat her son in the Chunin exams. Her nose twitched when she sniffed Naruto. Oh, I'm just getting food for Lady Tsunade and Shizune, he told them honestly, but noticed the look Tsume was giving him as she stared intently at him. Tsume's POV. When she sniffed the air around her surrounding Naruto, Tsume caught not just Naruto's scent but suddenly Tsunade's and Shizune's on him. Tsunade's scent on him was stronger than Shizune's, and that raised flags for the Inuzuka clan head. But she also smelled something else surrounding Naruto. She smells the scent of dominance surrounding him, that aura of him of an alpha. What the hell? She thought, taking in the scent, blinking her eyes. Although Naruto cleaned himself up and put on fresh new clothes, Tsunade's scent was still on him heavily, and that raised flags and questions in Tsume's mind. Hana turned to notice the strange look Tsume was giving to Naruto. Mom, she called out, but Tsume was too locked onto Naruto to even acknowledge her daughter calling her. Naruto himself noticed the uneasy look from Tsume and it worried him for some reason, as he had known an Inuzuka's nose is very sensitive and he hoped she wasn't smelling what she thought she was smelling. So, kid, you've been close with Tsunade-sama, have you? Tsume says, suddenly breaking the silence. Naruto did his best to not look nervous from Tsume's stern expression. Why, yes. She's training me right now and has recently adopted me. Naruto says with both women raising eyebrows at this. Really? That must be nice. Tsume says, putting her hands on her hips. Naruto eyes Tsume up and down, taking in her appearance. Looking at her and wide hips too that are curvier. Looking at her body, as his eyes shot over to Hana's, looking that she shares the same similar appearance of her mother. He would remember Tsunade's words to him earlier. Think of all the women you can bed with. And get them pregnant, she says huskily, leaning to him. Tsume noticed he was looking at her body. And her daughters, but chose not to say anything. Well, I have to go now. It was nice chatting with you. Don't want their food to get cold. Goodbye, Naruto says, immediately walking past them as they both stared at him, watching him leave. Goodbye. Take care, Hana says as she noticed her mother was burning her eyes at Naruto's retreating form. Mother, what's wrong? She asked. It's nothing, Hana. Let's get a move on. Tsume told her daughter as they turned to leave, but Tsume casted one last glance at Naruto. I think I'm going to pay the Hokage a personal visit very soon. Tsume thought, as she suspected something going on between Naruto and Tsunade as she recognized the familiar scent on the two. That faint smell she smelled on Naruto was the scent of ramen stand. Phew, that was close. I may have to tell Tsunade-chan about Tsume. I have a striking feeling that she knows something from the way she was looking at me, Naruto says himself on his way to the ramen stand while still holding Tsunade's and Shizune's food. From a faraway corner of a building, a certain indigo heiress was watching Naruto from afar. Naruto-kun, Hinata says softly, watching him from a distance. Hey old man Tyuki and big sis Ayame. Naruto greeted the pair. Hello my favorite customer. How you've been? Tyuki says. Hello Naruto-kun. You've been good, haven't you? Ayame greeted back. Yes I am. And guess what, I've been promoted to Chunin by Mama Tsunade. He revealed as the two gasped in surprise that he's been promoted, but their surprise grew more when he revealed Tsunade adopted him. Of course. I no longer have to live in that crappy apartment anymore. I live in her house now. I feel a big change coming to my life. He says happily as Ayame noticed the boxes of food in his hands. What are those? Ayame asked. Oh, this is for Tsunade and Shizune. He answered. Well, I'm proud of you. As a reward for you making Chunin, I'll cook you 10 bowls of ramen on the house. Tyuki says as Naruto's smile grew bigger. As Tyuki went behind the kitchen to start cooking, Ayame was left with Naruto alone. I'm happy for you, Naruto-kun. You are finally being noticed. She says with a smile, making him smile. As he eyed up at Ayame's pretty smile as he looked at her developing body. A mental image appeared in his mind, remembering Tsunade's words to him again. He wondered what would it be like, if Ayame was his woman. If he made Ayame his woman, she could be his legitimate personal ramen chef and wife. That made him smile as he had hard eyes. Fantasizing Ayame as his wife, serving him hundreds of bowls of ramen in the Senju household. Along with her being pregnant with his children. He would love the idea to make Ayame his wife. Tsunade did encourage him to have multiple women if he wants to bring back his clan. Plus Ayame is nice to him and was his big sister before Shizune. He would have to get approval from old man Tyuki. Knowing the old man is somewhat protective of his daughter and doesn't think no man or boy is good enough for his sweet daughter. And would gut them with his knife if they broke her heart. He would suddenly daydream of Ayame cooking all varieties of ramen in the Senju household for him and his big growing family. The more he thought about having Ayame as a wife made him happier at such idea. Say, Ayame-chan, have you ever thought about getting married? He asked her as she was caught off guard by such question. That depends if the boy I love is sweet, gentle and caring. For me, that's all it matters. And it would have to be someone my father would approve. She answered. You know daddy has scared off many who would be interested in me. She reminded him. Most of the many men or boys were creeps in general, and Tuki would stand by his daughter with his knife in hand with a very intimidating stare and cage-level killer intent. And from that point on, no one made a move on Ayame out of fear that Tuki would gut them like fish with his knife. Naruto shivered lightly, remembering the scary aura Tuki would give off if someone was looking at his daughter in a certain way. What made you ask? Are looking to get married? Have you finally confessed Sakura? Has she returned your feelings? Ayame asked. She had known who Sakura was. His teammate in Naruto would occasionally talk about her a lot when he comes to the stand to eat. This made Naruto's smile fade a bit at the mention of Sakura. I'm not interested in Sakura anymore, I'm actually interested in someone else, he revealed, shocking not just Ayame but Tuki as well as he stopped cooking. What? You stopped liking Sakura? What changed? Tuki asked from the kitchen. Well, Mama Tsunade says, I need to be with someone who would acknowledge me and return my feelings. As you can see, Sakura would never do such thing with me. Naruto replay. I never did like her, honestly. I personally think she isn't meant for you either, Naruto-kun. Ayame says. You think so? He asked as she nodded. I think it's for the best. Stay with Tsunade-sama's advice. I'm sure you'll find a girl or woman who loves you for who you are and not think of you differently. Ayame told him. That's what I'm working on. I plan to have a big family. I'm from a clan too. Did you know the Uzumaki is an actual clan? He says, surprising the two that he's from a clan too. Tuki, who was still cooking ramen, listened. As he suspected something that Naruto was related to her. Related to Kushina Uzumaki, who would also come here to his restaurant and eat ramen. He could practically see the resemblance between Naruto and Kushina. Both love ramen and both love to prank. Had he known, he would have fought tooth and nail to adopt Naruto. He wants to make it up to his favorite customer. That's great to hear, Naruto-kun. That you are from a clan. Ayame says with a smile. And it was right at that moment Tuki had came out the kitchen with 10 bowls of ramen to go in to-go boxes. Here you go, my boy, you don't have to pay, consider it on the house. He told Naruto, who smiled, summoning 10 shadow clones. Why thanks, old man Tuki and Ayame-chan. See you guys later. Gotta get going. He told them as he and his clones would all get ready to leave, walking away as they waved him goodbye. As he walked with his clones, from the corner, Sakura Haruno had spotted Naruto. As she called out to him. Hi Naruto. Sakura says with a fake smile, approaching him while he turned to look at her, noticing a change in her behavior as his clones noticed the same thing. Sakura. Hello. What do you want? He asked, wanting to see what is she up to. Oh, nothing. Just wanted to see how are you doing. What's that you got there? She asked. It's me and Mama Tsunade's favorite foods. Along with big sis Shizune's, he answered as she blinked when he called Tsunade Mama. Mama, she adopted you? She asked, making him nod. Isn't that great? And best of all, I'm a chunin now. He declared, making her frown lightly, trying to restrain her anger and frustration. That rank should have belonged to Sasuke-kun. She said mentally, not wanting to say it verbally. She has to look nice. Do you have a moment? She asked him. He saw that maybe it didn't hurt. He wanted to see what did Sakura want. Hey guys, take the food him. I'll follow up. He told his clones, handing them Tsunade's and Shizune's food. With the clones gone, Sakura started. Did you know your mama disbanded Team 7? She asked, making him look surprised. What? She did? He asked, seeing her nod. Yes. It's so unfair. How could she do this to us? She even went so far to separate you from us. We should be a team. She said. Naruto remained silent as he listened to Sakura rant and complain about how unfair his mama Tsunade was. Please Naruto. Can't you convince your mama Tsunade to give us another chance? Bring Team 7 back and we can be together again. She pleaded, looking innocent as possible. I don't know Sakura. Mom is the Hokage and her decisions are absolute, he says. Please at least try talking to her and reasoning with her. I can't grasp with being a civilian. And neither can Sasuke-kun. Please try to convince her to reform Team 7. If you do this, I'll go on a date with you. She says. Naruto frowned heavily at this. Why the sudden change in behavior? She's being nice. Have not yelled at him or not once hit him. And why now? She's choosing to go on a date with him. Something didn't add up with Sakura. Why the sudden change? Why go on a date with me now? After all the other times I've asked you out and you always flat out rejected them. He asked with suspicion. Sakura froze. Now thinking on how to counter this, she knew he had a point, but she must convince him to get Tsunade to reform Team 7. Because Naruto, surely you still care about me, right? You're Sakura-chan, she said, hoping to use this. Naruto paused. Silently processing this, is she trying to manipulate him? What are you trying to do? Do this for yourself, or for Sasuke? He said in a hard tone. What are you talking about? All I want is for us to be a team and be together again. Isn't that what you want? Be by my side and Sasuke-kun. She countered. To tell you the truth, Sakura. No, he answered as she stared at him with wide eyes. What did he just say? Inner Sakura yelled. Sakura looked completely taken back by this. She even noticed he didn't call her Sakura-chan. What do you mean? No. She questioned. Because Mama Tsunade plans to train me as her sole student and I rather be with her than the likes of you, Sasuke and Kakashi. He answered. Sakura was still trying to contain her anger and frustration. That old bitch. She's behind this. Inner Sakura yelled, scowling. She can see the influence Tsunade has over Naruto. Just what did she do to get him to like her? She needed to say her next words carefully, without getting mad. Why is she your mama? Never took you to be a mama's boy. She said. Because it's the one thing I wanted. A parent. Which is something you have. He answered back. And what does she have that we don't? Your team. She questioned. Of course Sakura knew. Tsunade is a legendary Sannin, is among the strongest women in Konoha, but there is more to this. Love. He answered. Love. Naruto, she's way too old. You shouldn't love her that way. She says with disgust. So, better than being rejected by you. He countered. Now that stung her. Come on, Naruto. Are you really that attached to that old bag? I want you to convince her to let Team 7 be reformed. She nearly yelled. Naruto narrowed his eyes angrily at her. Which surprised her. Don't disrespect my Tsunade-chan like that ever again, Sakura. I know what this is all about. This isn't about getting the team together, is it? He questioned with rare anger towards her. I don't know what she tried to say, but he cut her off with an outburst. Don't fucking lie to me. He snapped, making her jump in shock. It isn't about me. It's just about you and Sasuke as it. He accused. Realizing she's been caught, her silence literally confirmed that was the case. Naruto, that's not true. She defended. Yes the fuck it is. You'll do anything for Sasuke. I swear both you and Kakashi always remain as Uchiha kissers to that fucking. Naruto yelled to the top of his lungs. You watch what you say about Sasuke-kun. She yelled. I can say whatever the hell I want to say about that prick. It's always Sasuke this, Sasuke that. I'm sick of it. You, Kakashi, and this whole shithole of a village always praise him like he's Kami's child. He said with anger. You don't understand. He's the last of the Uchiha clan. His entire family was wiped out by his older brother. You don't know nothing of his pain. Sakura shouted. Sakura was seeing red. She refuses to have Sasuke be disrespected by Naruto. I don't know pain. He hissed, narrowing his eyes. No you don't. You're just an orphan with no family. It wouldn't surprise me if your parents abandoned you. So you don't know what type of pain Sasuke is dealing with, losing his whole family overnight. she shouted. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. How dare she say that? How his Sasuke's pain compared to his own? And she flat out insulted him that his own parents abandoned him, which was a lie. The Kyuubi's chakra was leaking dangerously with killer intent induced. After everything Tsunade told him about Sakura, she was right. Naruto was barely controlling his growing rage. Sakura felt the killer intent and realized she went too far, and that she destroyed whatever chance she could use to get Naruto to convince Tsunade. Seeing Naruto this mad, scared her as she backed away in fear of what he could do to her as she raised her hands up. Naruto was livid. He was trying to restrain himself from killing her. Naruto, please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, she tried to say, but then something unexpected happened. A hand struck Sakura's face that had knocked her into a building wall, and it wasn't Naruto's hand. Naruto gasped in shock at who struck Sakura. Standing where Sakura stood, it was Hinata Hyuga, with her Byakugan glaring hatefully at Sakura. Hinata. Naruto says, looking shocked and surprised by this. Sakura groaned in pain as she recollected herself and saw Hinata glaring at her with burning rage. You ungrateful bitch. How could you say something like that? Hinata spat in disdain towards Sakura, who could only look at Hinata in shock that the shy Hinata Hyuga was pissed. I've about had it with you treating Naruto-kun this way. Like, who do you think you are? Hinata ranted as Naruto stood in complete silence watching Hinata rant at Sakura and as defending him, as he silently remembered what Tsunade told him. You need real women and girls who will return their affection and acknowledgement towards you. Tsunade's words ringed in his head. Staring at Hinata in a brand new light, Naruto would take Tsunade's words to heart. Before Hinata could continue her rant, she felt a hand on her shoulder and made her turn to Naruto, who looked at her in happiness that had made her face reddened and expression softened. Hinata-chan, let's forget about this trash. Don't waste your time with this one. Come with me, he says with a smile, gesturing her to follow him. Hinata smiled as she knew this was her moment, so she would go with him. Sure, Naruto-kun, Hinata says as they both would begin to walk away while Naruto wraps his arm around Hinata as if they are a couple that had made Hinata happier and blushing much brighter. Oh my Kami, his arm is around me. Naruto-kun's arm is around me. Hinata thought with her cheeks rosy pink. Sakura looked up weakly with angry tears of sadness and betrayal. She lost Naruto to not just Tsunade, but Hinata. Her plan on getting Naruto to plead with Tsunade to reform Team 7 has failed. Hopefully her parents were successful in doing something about it. Little did Sakura Haruno know, was that her life is going to take a drastic change. Hokage Tower. Tsunade's shadow clone had monitored Naruto via the crystal ball, and she seemed happy that Naruto is following her advice. It seems Tsume likely has her eyes set on Naruto and likely knows something is up between her and Naruto. Tsunade knew she could probably tell Tsume some details. That's not all she witnessed. She witnessed him talking with Ayame's mental image of Ayame in their family being their personal ramen chef for her stud and growing family. She definitely approves. But the one who she likes the most is Hinata, who stepped in and defended Naruto from that pink-haired little bitch. Tsunade was livid. She had warned Sakura to stay away from Naruto. Time to show the little bitch that she wasn't playing. Anbu. She called out as three Anbu appeared and bowed to Tsunade. Yes, Hokage-sama, they said. Arrest Sakura Haruno. She's charged with harassment, Tsunade commanded as they nodded and would leave to carry out the order. Whenever she gets the chance, she's going to personally see Sakura in prison and beat the living hell out of her. She will not tolerate anyone who looks or talks about Naruto in a wrong way. With Naruto and Hinata would be seen walking together on their way back to the Senju estate as Naruto would tell Hinata that a big change was going to happen in his life. Hinata was staring at her hand linked with Naruto's. His face lit up like a Christmas tree, blushing and looking at him as he talked. I can't believe this is happening. Naruto-kun is actually noticing me, were her thoughts. So yeah, Hinata-chan, I'm also living with Tsunade-chan now. He tells her as her face was a brighter shade of pink due to him calling her Hinata-chan, which makes her happier. He no longer has any feelings for Sakura and has dropped the Sakura-chan, meaning he cut ties with Sakura, which is good for her because now Naruto will be looking at her now instead of Sakura. Hey Hinata-chan, can I ask you something? He asked her. Sure Naruto-kun, what is it? She asked with a smile. Do you like me? He asked out of the blue, which caught her off guard that he asked that question. She blushed further. She can't hesitate, this is her chance to admit her feelings to him. Especially with Sakura out of the way, she can finally muster up the courage to say how she feels towards him. Why yes. I do Naruto-kun. I like you very much. She confirmed, making the boy smile. I like you too Hinata-chan. He would say, which caught her off guard. This surprised her. He likes her too. He likes me. Naruto-kun likes me, thought Hinata with her face having a rosy color. We should hang out more often Hinata-chan. You and I think Mama Tsunade would approve. Naruto says. Mama? Hinata asked as Naruto chuckled. Oh right, you don't know. Tsunade adopted me as her son. He revealed, which made her happy. That's great that Tsunade-sama has taken you in as her son. Naruto-kun. I'm happy for you. Hinata says as Naruto smiled. Want to come with me back to Mama Tsunade's house with me? He asked her as she nodded since she had nothing to do. All right, come. I have an extra bowl of ramen so you and I can eat. He told her with a big smile. The two would walk off into the distance. As the onlookers watched the pair leave. Although they were watched by someone else who happened to see the pair. Ino Yamanaka couldn't believe her eyes. Naruto has moved on, no longer interested in her best friend Sakura. What changed? Naruto is seeing Hinata. Are they dating? She thought to herself. Does Forehead know about this? Has he seriously moved on from his crush on Sakura? Oh, Sakura, your loss is Hinata's gain. Ino says in thought. What Ino didn't know was that Sakura had her kunoichi license revoked by Tsunade and that Sakura is currently in jail right now. Ino wanted to visit her friend's house to tell her this information. She wanted to see the look on Sakura's face. Since she knows her best friend loves Sasuke. In their fight in the Chunin exams, Ino gave up her love for Sasuke and declared that Sakura can have him. She had known about Naruto's affection for her best friend and she never returned them to her fellow blonde. Sakura must feel pretty stupid right now. When she reached to the Haruno residence, she noticed the house is empty. No one was home, not even her parents. Where did Fathead go? Ino wondered, not seeing Sakura or her parents home. As she searched the house for her friend and went into her room. Sakura's bedroom was empty. That was until Ino discovered something on Sakura's table. It was a piece of paper. Ino walked over to the table and picked it up, reading its contents until her eyes went from disbelief and shock at what she was reading. Sakura's kunoichi license revoked. She said out loud. She noticed the Hokage seal stamp on the license that's been revoked. This surprised Ino greatly. Sakura is no longer a kunoichi. She wondered why. And wondered, is this why Sakura isn't home? Perhaps she can visit the Hokage to inquire on why Sakura had her license revoked. Did Sakura do something wrong that made her license revoked? Senju estate. Both Tsunade and Shizune were both cleaning themselves up, taking a bath to wash away the smell of sweat, cum and off of them, since Naruto's clones told them that the real Naruto is bringing Hinata over. While at the same time also cleaning up Tsunade's bedroom. Tsunade put on a new set of clean clothes, as did Shizune. After doing the deed, they heard the door knock and Shizune immediately went over to open it, revealing Naruto and Hinata. Hi big sis Shizune. Naruto greeted. Welcome back Naruto-kun, and I see you've brought Hinata-chan with you. Come on in. Shizune would say with a smile. The pair walked in and would go to the dining room, with Tsunade there sitting at the table setting up everyone's food. She turned to face her stud and Hinata. Welcome Hinata-chan. I see Naruto-kun brought you here as a date. She says smiling. Why yes Tsunade-sama, how are you doing? Hinata answered. Great. Very great. And you? Tsunade replied. Gee good. Hinata answered. Come sit and eat with us, let's sit down like a family, Tsunade says with a big smile. As the four ate their food, Tsunade was sitting across from Naruto and Hinata with Shizune next to her. She had not taken her eyes off of Hinata and smiled with lustful intent. She needed to speak with Hinata privately. Sometime later, after eating their food, Tsunade turned to Naruto. Naruto-kun, why don't you go help Shizune with the dishes? I want to talk with Hinata alone. Tsunade told him, who nodded. All right, mama. Naruto says, smiling, already know what Tsunade meant by talking. Hinata, could you come with me please? Tsunade asked her. As the girl nodded as Tsunade would guide her to her now fully cleaned bedroom with scented candles lit to block the smell from earlier. Hinata herself was a little nervous, wondering what Tsunade-sama wants to talk to her about. Now alone in the room, and this time she out sound barriers in the room. She fully faced Hinata. Tell me, Hinata, how much do you really love my son? Tsunade asked. Very much, Tsunade-sama, but there might be a problem for us if we are in a relationship. Hinata answered. And that would be? Tsunade asked. My father. He probably wouldn't like the idea of us dating, though. Hinata said as Tsunade had already anticipated this. Knowing the stuck-up Hyuga elders and Hiyashi for their stupid tradition. I'm not surprised by this. Knowing your father and the Hyuga elders put a lot of pressure on you, do they? Tsunade says with a raised eyebrow, making her nod. I approve of you being with Naruto-kun. But there's one thing you need to know, Hinata. She says with Hinata facing her. Know what? Hinata asked. Know that I am Naruto-kun's girlfriend. Tsunade revealed. When those words were uttered, Hinata had to process what the Senju lady just told her. There was a long pregnant pause. What? Hinata gasped, eyes wide, looking at Tsunade. This has to be some kind of joke, right? Now, don't be sad, Hinata-chan. I know what you're thinking. You think you lost a chance with Naruto, yes? Tsunade says with Hinata nodding, looking a little sad. Well, here's the thing. You still have a chance. Tsunade says with Hinata blinking. Huh, what is it? The shy girl asked. I can share Naruto with you. She said with Hinata still not getting the gist of it. How? She said. Naruto is from a clan. Tsunade says with Hinata looking shocked. Naruto-kun is from a clan. Hinata repeated. Yes, the Uzumaki clan is real. It's a real clan and is one of the founders for Konoha, Tsunade confirmed. Also, he is the son of the Yondaime Hokage. Tsunade would reveal as Hinata was blown away by this revelation. Her crush is the son of this village's Hokage. But wait. If that's the case, then why? Wait a minute, Tsunade-sama, if Naruto-kun is the son of the Yondaime, why is he treated differently here? Why doesn't the village recognize him as the son of their beloved Hokage? Hinata asked. As you know, Hinata, apparently both my idiot sensei and ex-teammate did what they thought was right by protecting Naruto from his parents' enemies by not revealing Naruto his heritage. Tsunade answered. But I don't understand, how could the village hate Naruto-kun? Why do they call him a monster? I've seen how parents would tell their kids to stay away from him. Hinata asked. What do you know about the Kyuubi attack? Tsunade asked her. Iruka-sensei told us that the Yondaime defeated the Kyuubi. Hinata says, remembering Iruka's historic lesson. True. But that is not the whole story. Minato and Kushina, Naruto's mother, both sacrificed their lives to save their son from the Kyuubi and sealed the fox into Naruto. Tsunade said. So the fox is a kunai, and Naruto-kun is the scroll. Hinata asked with Tsunade nodding. Exactly, Tsunade confirmed. So Hinata, now that you know Naruto holds the Kyuubi, would you think differently of him? She says, wanting to test the girl. Of course not. I still love Naruto-kun just the way he is. Hinata said as Tsunade smiled, getting the answer she wanted to hear. Now I just need to coach that girl into being bold. Tsunade thought. I'm pleased to hear that. Since I'm allowing you to date Naruto-kun is because Naruto-kun is under the CRA. Clan Restoration Act. He's as the last of his clan and must restore his clan with women of his choice, whether they become his wives or concubines. I'm the first. Shizune is also a part of being Naruto's girlfriend too. Tsunade revealed, shocking Hinata that Shizune is in on this too. Tsunade reached out and grabbed Hinata's hands into hers. Join our family. Hinata-chan, if you want to be wife material for Naruto-kun, you need to come out of your shell and start being bold. Tsunade says, with Hinata having a concerned expression. But what about my father and the elders? Hinata asked her. You let me worry about Hiashi and the elders. From now on you're my apprentice. And if they don't approve, you can come with me and join mine and Naruto-kun's family. Tsunade answered. This would make Hinata more determined to be with Naruto and become his wife. As she pictured herself in a wedding dress holding flowers and giving Naruto a kiss standing beside Tsunade and Shizune, who wore similar wedding dresses. With Hanabi being the flower girl. I'll do it. I want to learn from you, Tsunade-sama. Please teach me on how to be a proper girlfriend for Naruto-kun. Hinata said as Tsunade smiled further. Time to teach Hinata on how to be bold and assert her dominance, Tsunade says, mentally already cooking plans on corrupting Hinata. Elsewhere, Kurenai sneezed. What's wrong? Asuma asked her. I don't know, I just felt a disturbance, Kurenai said, not sure what made her sneeze. Hiashi and the elders also sneezed. Konoha prison. Sakura could only sit in her private jail cell. She was at a loss for what was happening to her. Her parents weren't home. When she got there, wondering if they were successful, only to see the house empty. And by the time she could call out to her mom and dad, Anbu arrived to arrest her. Sakura wasn't aware that her parents are arrested, just like she was. Tsunade had ordered Sakura to be placed in a private cell. Sakura asked what did she do that she had to go to jail for. The charge was denied that she did not harass anyone. She was just talking to her teammate, hoping to convince him to get Tsunade to reform Team 7. But her plan failed, and now Naruto will never look at her the same way again. She blames Tsunade. Tsunade likely did something to get Naruto to not think about her anymore. The cell doors opened. As Sakura looked up, hoping it was her parents, who probably heard of her in jail and came to bail her out. But unfortunately, Sakura's hope faded. As she saw the one person she did not want to see. It was Tsunade Senju. And she looked livid. I warned you to stay away from him. Tsunade says, coldly glaring at Sakura. Sakura immediately realized something. As her eyes widened. It was you. You had me arrested. My parents will hear about this. Sakura yelled. What parents? They are in prison too. Tsunade countered. This startled Sakura. What? You can't be serious. Sakura yelled. I am. Didn't think I wouldn't see through your little tactic. Run to your parents to bitch and moan about what I did to make you a civilian and no longer a kunoichi. Tsunade retorted. They tried to bribe me and threatened me. So it was within my right to have them arrested. Tsunade said. Then I see you tried to talk to my Naruto-kun to convince me to reform Team 7, yes? Tsunade added, with Sakura going silent. Sakura froze. Unable to say anything, confirming that she did attempt that. Your parents won't come to save you. They will be serving their sentences. Tsunade says. What did you do to Naruto? Why do you have him wrapped around your finger? Sakura demanded. I don't see why. Is that your business? Why concerned for Naruto now? You don't care about him. You care about your precious Uchiha, don't you? Tsunade said with narrowed eyes. Sakura glared. He said he loved you, so don't bullshit me. Sakura snapped. You hag. You probably seduced him. Sakura screamed at Tsunade. Tsunade roughly grabbed Sakura by the neck and slammed her up against the wall. I think it's time someone teach you some manners. I warned you to stay away from Naruto. And for that, I'm going to beat the hell out of you. I'm not going to kill you. Tsunade says, raising her fist in the air ready to pummel Sakura. And since you did that, I'm going to make your life a living hell for all what you did to my Naruto-kun, she said. You old bag. This is abuse. You're abusing your power as Hokage. Someone help. Sakura screamed. There's no one here on this cell block but me and you. Tsunade revealed as she had told the guards to leave. Sakura's eyes were filled with terror, realizing she's completely fucked. Anything to say before you get beat on? Tsunade asked. Sakura's response. She glared defiantly at Tsunade and spat in her face in hatred at the woman who was going to make her life a living hell. Tsunade wiped the spit off her face and gave her a twisted sadistic look. Without saying a word, Tsunade started pummeling her fists into Sakura, who screamed. Tsunade's fists impacted upon Sakura's face and body, bruising her and damaging her as Sakura's screams echoed throughout the cell block. Someone help me. Help me please. Sakura screamed, but no matter what, she had forgotten that there was no one on this cell block and that it was just her and Tsunade alone. The beating lasted for an hour. Tsunade glared down at Sakura's broken body as she was covered with bruises, black eyes, missing teeth from her mouth. Sakura twitched in pain as she cried tears. I think that's enough for now. Tsunade says, now emitting healing chakra to heal some of Sakura's injuries. She wasn't going to beat Sakura to the point of death. Just so you know, this is only the beginning of your punishment. She added as Sakura looked up weakly with her one good eye. What? Sakura asked weakly. You thought I was playing. I meant what I said. This is for all the times you abused and mistreated Naruto, Tsunade says. So when you're healed and relieved, be ready for another beating. Tsunade says, walking away, heading to the cell door, and left Sakura. Sakura would only cry alone in her cell. Sasuke-kun. Mother, father, help me, please save me, Sakura cried. Senju backyard. In the backyard of the Senju garden, Tsunade would be training both Naruto and Hinata chakra super strength. As they watched how Tsunade demonstrated her strength upon a boulder. Now you two just gotta compress chakra into your fists or legs. I will teach you all of that later on perhaps. Tsunade says. Okay. Naruto says with Hinata nodding. Well, I better get back home, father is probably waiting for me. Hinata says. Okay. It was good having you here, Hinata. You're welcome here anytime, Tsunade would say, keeping a smile. With that, Hinata would bow her head towards both Naruto and Tsunade and would leave the Senju estate. I take it you allowed Hinata-chan in on our little family dream? Naruto asked Tsunade, who nodded to her stud. Of course. Now I just need a plan on how to fully corrupt her, Tsunade says, now cooking a plan in her head on how to get the Hyuga girl corrupted. I'm sure you'll find a way, Tsunade-chan. He says, walking to her and grabbed her, making her moan a bit as she eyed down her boyfriend, future husband, as they walked away. While Tsunade was thinking of a perfect plan to get Hinata involved, a smile lit on her face along with a light bulb flicking above her head. She thought of the perfect plan. Hokage office. Tsunade Senju, shadow clone, is currently doing paperwork since the real Tsunade is with her love. That was until she heard a knock at the door. Enter. Tsunade says without looking until the doors did open, revealing one Ino Yamanaka. Making the Senju lady look up to her. Oh, Ino Yamanaka, you must be Inoichi's daughter. How may I help you today? Tsunade says, now having her focus on the blonde-haired girl. Well, Hokage-sama, I've came to ask you about this. Ino says, holding up Sakura's Kunoichi license termination. Tsunade raised a brow, wasn't the least surprised that Ino knows about Sakura's punishment. Oh. And just where did you get that? She asked. I visited Sakura's house, the place was empty, I was looking for her to tell her about Naruto seeing Hinata. Ino says. And what about Naruto seeing Hinata? Do you find something wrong with that? Tsunade questioned. Of course not. I'm just surprised, that's all, and just thought she should know since Naruto constantly goes after Sakura and she rejects him in favor of Sasuke. Ino says while Tsunade kept a stern expression, but in the inside she was fuming and will double Sakura's punishment. Naruto is no longer interested in Sakura. Care to know why? Tsunade asked with Ino nodding. I'm the reason I told him to move on from Sakura. She revealed with Ino raising a brow. You. But that's impossible, the idiot would always, Ino says, but froze seeing the glare formed on Tsunade's face. I suggest you watch what you say. Regarding Naruto around my presence, do you understand? Tsunade says sternly. I apologize, Tsunade-sama. Ino says. You're forgiven for now. Tsunade says. I will not tolerate anyone bad-mouthing or talking about Naruto in a certain wrong way. Tsunade added. So you get a pass. Unlike Sakura. Tsunade says. Ino was confused on why Tsunade was so defensive about Naruto. But she had to keep her mouth shut, not wanting to risk getting the older Senju angry. Since her father often told stories of Tsunade's known temper. Something tells me Sakura did something to piss you off, right? Ino asked. That she did. And not just her. But the rest of Team 7 except Naruto. Tsunade confirmed. What did they do? She asked. Well, for starters, that team is a failure. It's unbalanced. Kakashi constantly favors Sasuke Uchiha over his other students, neglecting them in the process, and Sakura is the abuser on the team and Kakashi never steps in to keep her in line. Tsunade firmly said. Is that why Sakura's Kunoichi license got revoked? Ino asked with Tsunade nodding. Sakura is also weak. She doesn't show signs of being a proper Kunoichi. She is just dead weight and is unfit to be a Kunoichi. She only wants to be a Kunoichi to impress that Uchiha brat and expect him to save her. That's pure laziness and Kakashi never bothered to set her straight. Tsunade added. But Sakura has always been Kunoichi of the year. Ino pointed out. And you think because of her book smarts, that's supposed to keep her in my ranks as a Kunoichi? Tsunade retorted. And don't get me started on her embarrassing match in the preliminary exams with you. Tsunade says, making Ino freeze up, hoping Tsunade doesn't chew her out for her match. I'm not just disappointed in her, but you as well. You two were fighting over a boy who isn't worth anything. Tsunade says. This made Ino flinch and look away. I want real Kunoichi, not pathetic good-for-nothing fangirls who are expecting their knights in shining armor to save their. Tsunade says with a slight glare. What can I do to make you see that I'm not a fangirl? Ino asked. What can you do? Get your shit together and act like a proper Kunoichi. What I'm saying is don't be like Sakura. Tsunade told her. Take your training seriously. Act dependent. She added. I'll do it. But would it be okay if I learned from you? Ino asked. The moment those words were heard, Tsunade smiled mentally. Learn from me. May I ask why? She asked. To make myself better. I want to be a Kunoichi that you can be proud of. Ino answered. Tsunade stared at Ino for any deceptions or lies, but found none. From the report of her fight with Sakura, it was stated that Ino gave up Sasuke Uchiha. Though she could still break Ino out of whatever fangirl phase she still held onto. And if Ino was this close to beating Sakura in the preliminary rounds, then there's hope for this girl's potential to develop. If you want to learn from me, you will have to do as I say. Understand? Tsunade says with Ino nodding. I feel that you have potential to be a great Kunoichi. Ino. Tsunade says. And I do not want such potential wasted. She added. Plus, you won't be the only one I am training. She revealed, making Ino look confused. Huh? Who? Ino asked. Naruto and Hinata. Tsunade answered. You're training them too. Why? Ino asked. Because I see lots of potential in both of them. Naruto especially. You have the possibility to develop your potential just like them. Tsunade says. But I don't get it. Isn't Naruto still learning from Kakashi and Jiraiya of the Toads? Ino questioned. Not anymore. Those two wasted Naruto's potential and will continue to fail him. Me on the other hand, I will draw out Naruto's real potential unlike them. She revealed. Ino would have to reluctantly accept having to work with Naruto and Hinata under Tsunade. If she wants to prove Tsunade that she can be a proper Kunoichi. Are you in or not? Tsunade asked the girl. I'll do it. I'll learn from you, Tsunade-sensei. She says, making the Senju woman smile. Good. Good. I'm happy to hear that you're willing to do this. Tsunade says. I won't just mold her into a proper Kunoichi but a potential future lover for my stud, she thought. How soon can I train with you? Ino asked. You will train with me when I summon you. I'll be talking with your sensei Asuma on this. Tsunade says. Thanks for giving me a chance, Tsunade-sama. I promise you, you won't regret it. Ino says smiling. One more thing. Where is Sakura? Ino asked once more. Sakura and her family gone on vacation. Tsunade lied. Vacation to where? Ino asked. Waterfall country. Tsunade lied again, not going to tell Ino where the Haruno family actually is. Why vacation? Ino asked. So that the girl can take her mind off being a kunoichi and live her life as a civilian. Tsunade answered. I suppose that makes sense, Ino says, knowing Sakura's behavior. Did they say when they'll come back? She asked one last time. Maybe a month or 3 months, Tsunade replied. Ino would be in silence after that. Plenty of time to train and corrupt this girl into joining our family. This will sever her friendship with Sakura completely. Tsunade thought. She wants Sakura completely isolated, losing everything. Well, okay. Well, am I free to go now? Ino asked. Of course. Tsunade says as Ino nodded and would leave. As she left, Tsunade put on a devious smile. Later that evening, Hinata Hyuga would be at the Konoha hot springs. As she danced, while mentally daydreaming about being Naruto's girlfriend and receiving training under Tsunade Senju. The Hyuga heiress would keep dancing. And then, she hears the unexpected sound of moaning which broke her out of her daydreaming and halted her dancing. Hinata's face turned a rosy pink color hearing the moan from her private hot spring. As she glanced at the wall hearing the sounds, she turns on her Byukugan to see what's going on, not sure what was happening. Her eyes see through the wall, and suddenly she was taken back by what she was seeing. She saw Tsunade and Naruto, but her eyes widened at the sight of Naruto's tool. The image she saw burned into her memory forever. Her face burned brightly red, and her nose was bleeding, as she saw Naruto shove his member into Tsunade's womanhood. Hinata could barely look away as her nose continued to bleed. Her face bright red, and suddenly images of her being older with Naruto treating her that way, and giving her the same pleasure that he gives to Tsunade. Oh, right there, Naruto-kun, right there, give it to me. Tsunade's voice echoed loud enough for Hinata to hear, which made Hinata drool while still nose bleeding. Kami, you've gotten tighter, Tsunade-chan. Naruto's voice was heard, as Hinata suddenly fantasized her and Naruto having that kind of relation. If you want to be wife material for Naruto-kun, you need to come out of your shell and start being bold. Tsunade says to Hinata in a quick flashback. Be bold, and come out of her shell. As she recalls all the times she was seen as a weakling by the main branch, including her father and the elders. Remembers how the bullies would constantly call her a Byakugan freak or monster. Recalls how she attacked Sakura out of anger for insulting Naruto-kun. Recalls the whooping she got from Neji in the Chunin exams and how Naruto cheered her on. The words from Tsunade kept replaying in Hinata's mind, as she recalled on how Kurenai, her sensei, would shield or isolate her from certain things. Be bold, if you want to be Naruto's potential wife. You can do it. Tsunade's voice echoed again, strengthening Hinata's resolve. She continued to watch the love-making between Tsunade and Naruto, as she was more determined to be his third wife. And at that moment, her mind and soul felt the presence of a mighty lioness that roared with pride. The lioness in question let out an earth-shaking thunderous roar. As the shell around her began to slowly crack, whatever pieces of the shy Hinata was slowly cracking. Time to turn over a new leaf, for Naruto-kun, she declared. The next day, Hinata would appear at the Senju estate doorstep knocking on it. As the door opened, revealing it to be Tsunade, who looked down at Hinata's sudden new appearance. Hinata was at the door with her jacket opened, revealing her fishnet top that held her developing. Wearing jean shorts and put lipstick on her lips, and she's her RTN self, by the way. It seems just before she went to Tsunade, she sought out Anko Mitarashi, Kurenai's best friend, for advice. Anko didn't have no problem with helping Hinata and giving the girl some advice, knowing this girl had always been sheltered and isolated by Kurenai. Oh, what's this? Tsunade asked, surprised by Hinata's sudden change in clothes. I thought of looking proactive for Naruto-kun, Tsunade-sama. Hinata answered. This caused Tsunade to smile, It seems her plan worked last night by following Hinata to the hot springs and had quickly brought Naruto over just so she could put on a show for Hinata on purpose. And so it begins, Tsunade thought with her smile still on her face. Come on in. Naruto-kun just may be eager to see you in that. Tsunade says, letting the Hyuga heiress in. Meanwhile at the Konoha hospital, Jiraiya would lay in his hospital bed still in a full body cast. His injuries are slowly healing. It's just that Tsunade refuses to give him a complete recovery. The hospital doors opened revealing Tsunade coming in. Tsunade Heim, so how'd it go? How soon will I get back in perfect shape? He asked. Tsunade raised a brow staring at Jiraiya. It went well. But first, she starts. Before Jiraiya could say anything, Tsunade punched him square in the face, knocking him right off his hospital bed. OWWW, what was that for? He asked her. You fucked up. That's what it was for. She hissed. Oh come on Tsunade Heim. Please tell me this isn't about me neglecting Naruto still. He asked. It is. And I want you to stay away from him. She said. You can't just do this Tsunade. Minato made me his godfather, remember? Jiraiya pleaded. Did you forget I am the Hokage? She reminded him. But still, I made a pro, he tried to say until she cut him off. You made a shitty promise to him, that's what you did. She said, glaring at him. But the toads, they'll want to train him since he signed the contract. Jiraiya countered. They are just as guilty as you. I don't even want him training with them. She says, making Jiraiya frown. Who died and made you his mother? Because clearly you're not. He says to her. Tsunade glared. I adopted him. She pulled the adoption paper out of her coat, showing it to Jiraiya. So he's my son now. She spat. When you are fully recovered, the first thing I want you to do is tell the toads to remove Naruto off their summoning contract. She demanded. Tsunade, aren't you taking this a bit too far? He yelled. The toads will be displeased. He reasoned. I don't care. I don't want neither you or them around him. He will get a new summons, one that will care for him and look after him. She shot back. Let me talk to Naruto. At least give me a chance to make things right. He pleaded. You don't have any right to see him now, especially after I told him you're his godfather. She said. Tsunade, this isn't, he tried to say until her hands wrapped around his throat, strangling him. Listen here, you no good for nothing fucking pervert, don't you dare tell me this isn't fair. You had plenty of chances to be by Naruto's side years ago during his younger years, and what did you do? Tend to your spy network. Peep at girls. Jerk your disgusting pencil too at that shitty porn you write. She hissed, putting more pressure on Jiraiya's throat, causing him to gag and turn blue. Do as I say, tell the toads you want Naruto off the contract, and if you do not do it, I will kill you. She snarled, almost tempting on crushing his windpipe, but let him go. Jiraiya coughed, trying to regain his breathing. Are we clear, Jiraiya? She asked. Jiraiya looks up at her in silence until she grabbed him by the throat and slammed his face hard into the wall and kept him pinned there. I won't ask again. She hissed. Crystal. He says until she dropped him. Good. I'm glad we are on the same page. Tsunade says. With that, Tsunade turned to leave. Wait. Aren't you supposed to heal me? He asked. I'm not healing you. I'm letting the doctors here do that. She says. She finally left, leaving Jiraiya alone, who sighed. God damn it. Jiraiya muttered.